So much for that response. That's beautiful. Thank you to all our participants and mentors. We will now move to the next segment. Uh, yeah, so you can return to your seats. Yes. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for them. What a beautiful session. Up next is our academic keynote. Up next is our academic keynote. This session speaks directly to how we design technology that truly serves our realities. We will be exploring what it means to build for Africa using local data sets, developing inclusive models, and creating AI systems that are grounded in context, not assumptions. To lead this conversation, please join me in welcoming Dr. Sakinat Folorunso, Associate Professor of AI Systems at Olabisi Onabanjo University, for the second time on stage. Please put your hands together for her as she makes her way to the stage.
All right. So currently, I mentioned earlier that this is our first baby. So this is the MVP. So currently we have about 20 voices: male, female, choir, duet, different voices. Unfortunately, I was unable to show the custom generator. What I did was the auto-generate with just the idea. And the custom generator, you actually have the capacity to choose which voice you want for the song. Do you want a male voice? Do you want a choir? Do you want a duet between male and male, duet between male and female, duet between female and female, all sorts. But right now, we still have a very minimal range of voices. And also, I think we were mentioning about different voices, Arasta and the likes. But right now, we're being careful. She mentioned something earlier, one of the mentors, about, I think, copyright or something like that. Imagine somebody coming to our platform and then is generating a song with Davido's voice rather, and then posts to YouTube or something that is Davido's latest song. You know how many million views the person is generating a day or two because it's Davido, right? And they hear the voice. But you know what happens if they find out that it wasn't Davido? We can be sued. So we are trying to, right now, the voices we are using are voices that we kind of like, what's the word I'm going to say, train on, right? So.
Thank you very much. We won't be able to take the last question, but right now we have our final panel session. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a moment. So I just realized that many people registered, but not everybody came here today, right? So we need to pepper those people that did not come here. So have you taken a selfie and uploaded it on your story and tagged AI in action now? Have we done that? No, you did not do that. Okay, so we're going to do that right after this speech. So get your phones ready.
Hello everyone, good evening. Though this talk was supposed to be in the morning, and I'm going to make it very brief, so you pardon me for just sliding through. And at the same time, I'm an academia, so I'll be looking at talking about these things from the academia point of view. And so we now want to build for Africa. And just like I said during my panel session, that data set is very, very important and is a game changer. Is what changes our view, our reframing, and whatever, every other thing that we do with AI. So my name is Dr. Sakinat, and I'm an associate professor of AI systems, and I do a lot of things with AI. And just like Michael said, Michael is the public space, but I'm a very quiet builder. And I also want to thank Debola, because I don't know how she discovered that I can do this and how she got me to say this, because I usually don't do that. But having said that, I'm going to talk about why context, not just code, is the future of intelligence. Please, next slide. So why are we talking about this? It's because most data set that we use to build our AI does not include us as Africans. Believe it or not, even if you live in borders of Nigeria, haven't grown up here, you are living with everything African or everything Nigerian. So there are some things that you cannot change about yourself, even when you live over there. So that's why we can we move to the next slide, please, just for visual. So there is a global system for AI that is in the Western world, and they are trained on non-African data, Africa that doesn't speak to data that doesn't speak to us. But if you look on the left side, that is our reality. Because even when we live here, we want to cook, we want to cook, we will still go to markets like my two, and this is how our market, majority of them, this is how they are, and this is our reality. So if you are building a market system, a market structure on what appears on the right side, then we might be slightly wrong. So let's move to the next slide. So the current paradox is that we are 95% consumers of AI products. Now, we want to change that mindset of moving ourselves from consumer to producer. So the challenge is that we rely on the global Western-centric model that leads into inevitable bias. So the model is biased, and the results, the interpretation, they are kind of biased. So the 5% that we want to turn into 90%. And next slide, please. It's just for the visual anyway. So the silent bias is that there's a concept drift on the market structure. This is our market. This is how our market is. So when we are building an AI for that needs market structure, we don't have supermarket aisles, or we can have it, but this is how our market is. We have 1,000,001 products being sold in our market like this. But the data void there is that this our market is localized, and there's lots of missing structures there when the AI is built. So we now advocate for data sovereignty. Next slide, please. We advocate for data sovereignty because when we build data, this is data colonialism that has happened during days of the colonial era, where we were taught to believe that we are consumers and we import everything, even AI models. They were all imported. They are still imported anyway. But when we move to data sovereignty, then we become data producers. Just like Corey, because I'm still going to, it has very, very close relevance to this talk. And our data are community owned. There's cultural and contextual accuracy with any model that is built on our data set. My vice chancellor, he's a medical doctor. He was trained abroad, and do you know when he they were talking about cancer? He's an oncologist, so he told his supervisor that this kind of cancer that they are being trained on how to cure them, on how to manage them, is different from the cancer that they have here in Nigeria. Well, the supervisor didn't believe him until he came back home to get a sample of the cancer data to give him. So imagine all the plan and the treatment plan that he has been taught. If he applied it here, it's not going to work, or probably work halfway. So and our algorithm also, the algorithm that we import, that's the model, is also not trained towards our own data. So we need that data sovereignty. How do we sovereign our data? Next slide, please. So this triage, I encourage it. These are the pillars of the localized AI that we clamor for. This triage is like you build data sets that have roots, that are deeply rooted, and it's, you know, it kind of is the raw material that builds for the data sovereign. Then we also talk about the inclusive model. This is the engine that produces the model that we say is very accurate and is talking to us. Then the contextual AI, that is the content of the localized AI. So we move through the triage. From data, you train the model, make sure that your result speaks to us. But that data set that is deeply rooted here in Nigeria, in our culture, in our talk, in our everyday life, is what is very, very important. So the local data is sovereign and is decolonized. Is moving from subject to owners. We are the data owner. It speaks to us. And the model, like NLP or for computer vision, they solve for code switching and local content. Look at those songs that Corin generated. There were a lot of code switching there. Like now AI with a talk. You know what I mean by code switching is that you switch from Yoruba language to English to Hausa. You know, you keep switching back and forth like that. It will confuse a westernized model, because what does westernized model do? They only speak English or they speak straight French. But we Africans, we speak code switching languages. So next slide, please. So there is this thing about next slide, or next slide. African has data, but our data are not organized. Next one, yes. We have very rich history and diverse accents and dialects. Imagine, even in Ogun State, the number of dialects you have when you move from Ijebu to Remo, from Remo to Egba to Yewa. You know, our dialect varies. Now, do we build models that recognize these variants in our dialect? You can. I'm an Ijebu woman. My husband is from Ibadan, but I don't think that my children understand that Ijebu dialect like that. But we are still Yoruba people. So we need models that can understand this our variants, the indigenous knowledge, and okay, talking about cooperative and microfinance patterns. Now, we do our job. And I know that, I remember when I was working in telecoms firm, when I finished freshly from school, even that's why working in a telecom firm, we still do our job. You know, immediately we collect salary, we tell each other, oh yeah, bring this amount, and when it's your turn, you collect. But this credit scoring that is imported from Western world does not understand our adjust system. It doesn't understand our isusu. It doesn't understand our alajesheku that we call cooperative. You know, there's this way cooperative, and it works for us. This our market women, because my mom is one. You know, there's a way they do their credit marketing. This thing works for them perfectly well. This machine learning that we talk about is the longest profession, because if you meet any market woman, they will predict what will happen, you know, or the kind of market that they will have in the next month or in the next season. So this model doesn't understand our, you know, our alajesheku or esusu system, or this our agricultural system. Then our music, we have different kinds of music, you know, and we sing for everything, just like Indians, you know, like a Yoruba woman that I am. For every festive season, we have song. When you give birth, there's this kind of song that you sing. When you get married, even on the married day, when you leave your house, there's a song. When you enter the hall, there's a song. When you are leaving your parents, there's a song. Even when you want to enter your husband's house, there's a song. So this our song, they differ, but this is us that we don't realize. This Western model don't take care of this. Next slide, please. So now, talking about fair, we want to talk about localized data. So let everybody gather their local data. Like for somebody like myself, now I'm an academia. So the way I treat my students are, when we are in the season of starting projects, we sit in a round table, then we begin to talk about our passion. What do you like to do? So one of them one day just told me that he's a DJ and he's not interested in project. When you will be interested, there's AI in music. That's how we just started. And coincidentally, my data set that I curated, I named it Ori. So if you search it out now, you see one of them. I have variants of them. There are some that I didn't publish publicly, but there's one that I published recently. And that Ori data set is actually, we curated Nigerian lyric song, and you know, we performed some topic modeling AI tools that we did on them, and that paper actually won us a seat at NeurIFS. If you know NeurIFS is the largest AI conference in the world, and fortunately at the creative track, our paper got accepted there, and it was based on that Ori data set. Please give us a clap for that. So that Ori data set, you know, is everything about Nigeria, you know, and there were a lot of code switching talk there that could make a model not know what they are doing. So then the first Ori data set that we curated was on building classification genre for Nigerian songs, and we had about 61% accuracy at that time. And we realized that, you know, part of the accuracy was because the model that we trained our local songs on, you know, the songs were like the Waka song, Fuji, Juju. We trained them on imported model, you know, so there was kind of the disparity there. But we encourage this fair. Fair means make your data findable. We encourage that, accessible. That is why the Cori app could also get songs online, because that Ori is an audio data set that is findable, and we make it accessible, interoperable and reusable. But the content that is coming out from FAIR, that FAIR is the standard one. Now what we talk about, the CFAIR in Africa, is culturally relevant. That means making your data culturally relevant, community owned and compensated. So we encourage that our data be localized, and you make them see fair. They are fair already, but you make them see fair. So these are examples of some of the local sets that I was talking about. Next slide. So probably I will have to give it up from there, but let me just give the closing statements there. Okay. I will leave the slide with the convener so that you can have a feel, or I might probably upload it on my LinkedIn so that I can go through the slide. So the foundation for adoption of AI, what I posit to us is that we should have local data sets for an inclusive model so that we can be seen. And this we give back to what we call contextual AI. It gives us trust, and we adopt this method. So what I see in African AI in 2030 is a voice assistant that is fluent in local languages like Yoruba, Hausa, because if you check your WhatsApp now, you can transcribe. So if I do a voice note to my mom in Yoruba, the WhatsApp cannot transcribe to English. It just give you gibberish. But what we see happening in the nearest future is a voice assistant that is fluent in our language that could diagnose IBA, the Nigerian disease, because they told me that in UK they don't believe that we have malaria, but we have a model that can diagnose that. So now, my closing message is that African AI must be built by Africans for African using African data. So if the data doesn't know us, the data that is used to build the model, then this AI cannot serve us. The context is not an extra. It is the intelligence that is built into it. Smart data, contextual data builds African intelligence. So Africa can redefine AI by leading in contextual understanding. So let's collaborate or let's localize. Put up my code there, so you can read
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that beautiful, beautiful session. Okay, so all of the slides, as the convener said, all of the slides are going to be uploaded or sent via email to those who have registered for this event. So we bring to you the final panel session as we close today. We're going to be discussing AI in action now, which is the theme basically. So this conversation brings together African ecosystem leaders, AI founders, engineers, business executives to explore place in the global AI landscape with a focus on collaboration, responsible deployment, and ethical innovation. Please welcome our panelist, Ayomide Banjoko. Please put your hands together for him as he makes his way to the stage. He happens to be the Managing Director, Zone 4 Energy Limited. Please put your hands together for him as he makes his way to the stage. We also have Kelechi Nsofo from Digital Realty. Please put your hands together for him as he makes his way to the stage. And we have our very beautiful convener, Debola Ibiode. Please put your hands together for her as she comes on stage. We also have Gabriel Olowo. Is he here, please? Mr. Bude.